Hello, good morning. I hope everybody is well and have had a great week. I can't believe a week has passed since my last video. Time just flies. What have I been doing this week? Well, I suppose my main project has been charting the band sampler Elizabeth Pito. Now, Elizabeth is a very, very beautiful sampler, and she's going to be the day one project for a 2-day workshop I will be giving at the Attic Needleworks next year. She's a very, very pretty sampler. Very, very pretty. Charting her has been a joy. I really enjoyed the satin stitch diamond sort of ribbon band and charting that flame stitch bargello band and the rice stitched clamshells below. I have very, very nearly finished charting her. I leave the freehand elements to last because I like to really be in the mind of the young girl who stitched a sampler before I start doing the freehand elements. I find that when I'm in the little girl's mind, I understand how she stitches or how she approaches the stitches and how she interprets colour. I find it makes it so much easier to draw out her freehand work. This is a very, very lovely sampler. I just adore the verse. Modesty is said to be the glory of a maid. I think that's so, so beautiful. Another lovely thing about this sampler is it seems, or it appears from some initial research, that Elizabeth Pito is actually related to a needlework friend of mine, and I just think that's wonderful. Samplers have a way of finding their way home or their way to a home, and Carol Ann, whose ancestor is probably Elizabeth Pito, is looking forward to stitching this sampler. I would love to find a sampler that was stitched by one of my relatives, but I don't think that's going to be likely somehow. The other thing about Elizabeth, I'm going to just put her away. She's very old, she's 1709, so I must be very careful with her when I'm handling her, although she is in wonderful condition. Another friend of mine, Anne, told me about a sampler that is in the book Samplers by Lee Ashton. It's a very old book, and this book is full of samplers that are in the collection of the Victoria and Albert Museum. And there is a sampler in the book stitched 1 year later in 1710 by Martha Wheeler. And there are certainly hints of Elizabeth's sampler in Martha Wheeler. When you study the sampler, there are so many elements, but interpreted in a slightly different way. I love browsing through old books, and when I got this book out to look up Martha Wheeler, of course I started to look at some other samplers, and when you start looking at band samplers, there's so many sort of hints of samplers in my collection. I love band samplers. I acquired a band sampler in the last couple of days at auction, and I am so, so excited, waiting for it to come. It'll be a few weeks before it's here, but when it comes, I will share that with you. I've been very hesitant about sharing my samplers publicly over the last 12 months because of what happened to one of my samplers last year, but and that sort of hesitancy in sharing my samplers spoils my enjoyment of my samplers. I love sharing my collection with people who can appreciate them. And I'm going to share one more sampler with you. This morning I woke up with the line from one of my favourite books, Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. Last night I dreamt I went to Mandalay, and that was because last night I dreamt of Martha Swallow. Oh, sorry, not Martha Swallow, Matilda Swallow. And this is Matilda. She is a very colourful, vibrant sampler. Now, I have shown this. I showed this, probably early, very, very early last year. And my plan was to get her charted after the current project I was charting was finished. And you know what it's like, something else comes along and something gets put on the back burner. And I've got to be honest, I had forgotten about this sampler. How can I forget about this sampler? It is beautiful. Anyway, I think I dreamt of her last night because when I was stitching last night, I was listening to a programme about Alexander Pope, and I got to think about the Temple of Fame. And of course, this sampler features the Temple of Fame, and we're told that it is the Temple of Fame. She's recorded that on the sampler, as she did, as Elizabeth Weston did on her Temple of Fame sampler. So I had to hunt this sampler out this morning. She was in storage, but now she's going to stay in my study, and I'm going to try and get to chart her as soon as possible. She's beautiful, great sampler. The only other little bit of news I've got this week is that I have reprinted a very, very small run of Anne Forfitt. Anne has been out of print on my website for quite some time, but I've been having so many requests for copies for Anne, and also this is my only copy for myself, and it's a damaged copy. It was damaged in transit from the printers, so I haven't actually got a perfect copy for my archive. So she is on my website, so if you would like a copy, she is available. I'm not quite sure how long she's going to be available for. It depends how long the print run lasts. She is a big booklet, she's 40 pages, and Anne is a big sampler, but she's a very, very magnificent sampler. That border is very beautiful and very different, and I like different. Now, if you are in North Carolina and you visit Sassy Jack Stitchery in Weaversville, near Asheville, you will be able to see the original Anne Forfitt, as she now belongs to Kimberly at Sassy Jack Stitchery. So if you're in the area, it's well worth popping in and seeing this beautiful sampler in person. That really is everything I've got to show you. I have been busy stitching, but I'll show a sneak peek of that sampler, well, when I'm travelling, because the sampler I'm working on at the moment, I will be stitching on my journey up to London and as I fly across the Atlantic, and she'll probably be my project until I pull the linen and threads for Elizabeth Peto whilst I'm at the attic. So, and when I'm there this week, I will try and do as many videos as possible so that you can all participate in the joy and the excitement of summer school, and hopefully share a shopping experience with you at the Attic Needleworks. So until the next time, bye-see-bye.